In part 2 for chapter 14, we'll talk about speaking clearly and speaking vividly. Speaking clearly is just using words that convey your meaning precisely. You want to use very specific language in terms that are familiar to the audience. Now, sometimes it's appropriate to use slang and jargon, and other times it is not. You need to know who is in your audience before you insert slang or jargon into your remarks. Whenever you can, provide details and examples to help illustrate your point or to illustrate a concept. And of course, limit vocalized pauses as much as you can. Okay, things like that. And the way to do that, rehearse, record yourself, and listen for those vocalized pauses. Speaking vividly. This is using language that is full of life. So I've got a picture here. And if you were going to describe that picture to me, what would you say? Think about that for a moment. Okay, you could say you've got a skier on a mountain, and that is correct. But you want to use language that really, gets into the senses. So rather than just say, this is a picture of a skier on a mountain, you could say, under a brilliant sun and a bright blue sky, this is a picture of a skier in a neon green ski suit as he navigates a turn on the mountain with snow billowing behind. Then you really get a picture of what's happening on that mountain. You also want to use rhetorical figures and structures of speech. Rhetorical figures of speech just refers to making comparisons between things that may not be obviously alike. Rhetorical structures of speech combining ideas in a particular way. A simile is a direct comparison of dissimilar things using the word like or as. A metaphor, an implied comparison between two unlike things, but you say that without using like or as. Analogy, that's just an extended metaphor. Alliteration, the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words that are near one another. For example, my daughter subscribes and gets these things called a Fit Fab Fun box. Well, Fit Fab Fun, that's an alliteration. Onomatopoeia, the use of words that sound like the things they stand for. So, for example, the word crunch is an onomatopoeia. Personification refers to either animals or inanimate objects, referring to them as if they had human characteristics. Repetition, using restating words, phrases, or sentences for emphasis. And finally, antithesis. Antithesis is putting contrasting ideas in the same sentence. And your book has a great example. When John F. Kennedy said, "My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." That's an antithesis where you put those two conflicting things together. Okay, and that is the end of part 2 for chapter 14.